Hey guys, Kathy Iconis here, and today I am going to show you quickly, big kind of picture view of how to go through and diagnose the books. Now, I am in Intuit's sample company under my accountant user. So as you can see on here, it says accountant, sample company. So we're not going to have a ton of information here, but I wanted to walk you through the steps that I take when going through and diagnosing the books. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to have some sort of starting point reference um, spreadsheet or something that we can track to see everything that we've looked at and reviewed. This is obviously after we've had a conversation with the client to learn more about their business, their workflows, what their pain points are. And now we're going in, we have access to the books, and we want to see what's going on. We don't want to change anything because that's really actually part of a cleanup engagement. We just want to diagnose it, see what's going on within the books so that we can see how can we take care of everything, right? So what I like to do is I come in and go to reports. We can run the balance sheet and the profit and loss as two separate sheets. But if you know or don't know, we can also run the trial balance, which is both of those reports together in one. So because this is a sample company, I'm just going to do it as of today. Okay, so you can kind of see the steps that I'm going through and looking through on here. So I'm going to export this to Excel. So again, that I have a reference spreadsheet so that I can look at. This is also going to help me price things out later for the client. So really, this is kind of my internal tool to see what's going on with the books. Okay. So opening this up, I am going to make this a little bit bigger for you all to see. Okay, so the first step we want to look at here is, okay, I have the trial balance. Here are all of these accounts. I'm going to go through every one of these accounts to kind of get an idea of what's going on in there. And then off to the side over here, I'm going to put in my notes. Okay, so I'll just write notes right here, and so we can kind of see what all's going on. So the first thing that I want to look at is I want to go over to banking and see what kind of transactions. Thank you, QuickBooks, for all of the updates. Okay, see what kind of transactions are out there and what all I need to do. So, I mean, we're coding some transactions 25, 1, and 7. Now, going back here, we do have some older transactions like 614, 6, all of that. And I just kind of want to compare that to the most recent transactions in the book. So I'm looking at the register, and we're going through 8/8 here. Like we have 7/24. So there's a little bit of overlap between what is in the books in the checking account now versus what's in the bank feed. So might be a little messy, but again, we have 25 transactions. That's not a lot, right? 1 here, 7 there. So I'm going to right here, let's go in and say number of open transactions. I spelled that right? Okay. I like to always put things in red or different colors so that I can track them. Okay. So we have 25, 1, and 7. Again, nothing I'm too scared about. Let's get down to, that was the credit card, right? MasterCard, 7. Okay. So, not a big deal. But what I really care about here is what about the reconciliations? How are those looking? Okay, so I like to go to my report tools here, or my briefcase, then I come down to report tools. This gives me a summary view of the reconciliations, and never ever been reconciled. So that's an issue, right? These have never been reconciled. So I'm going to put that in my notes. Now, here's the question. If it's never been reconciled before, what is the potential for this engagement? Like, what are we doing? Are we cleaning up last year? Are we cleaning up year to date? Where, you know, what transactions are we working on to get to clean, right? So in this example, let's say that I need to start from January through August, okay? So that means, so starting point is January 1st, 2019. So what I need to do is I'm actually going to be doing, was that 7 to 8 reconciliations, right? So 7 reconciliations there each. So the question is later I'm going to be looking at, be like, okay, how long is it going to take me to do 7 reconciliations on all of these accounts, right? Then we go into, let me look at my notes. So we review the bank reconciliations. The next step I like to do is look at undeposited funds right here. Okay. A quick way to look at undeposited funds is to do the plus sign and go to bank deposit. On the top of the bank deposit, it will show you everything that has not been deposited as of today. Okay. There are reports that you can run if you're looking for it for a different period of time, but my example is we're running it as of today. So my balance is 2062, right? And considering today's date is the 20th, and these were supposedly, we got those payments on July 25th. So I'm going to have 2 deposits need to track down and figure out when deposited, like 1 month past receipt date. I don't know. So again, what I'm doing is I'm putting these notes to myself so I can kind of remember okay, here's the things I need to look out for, right? Okay, so we have the deposits. The next thing I like to go through is the AR and the AP aging. Sometimes I like to just export these into the file. Let's go ahead and just do that. Export to Excel. I'll save it down there, but I am just going to bring that over into this sucker. Okay, so again, really small font. Let's make this bigger. This is something I probably want to communicate with the client and see if this looks accurate to them. And then if I was looking at something that had a whole bunch of stuff past due or some negative amounts or zero stuff, there would be a lot of research. But this is like, I want to look at this one, maybe the 31 to 60 days stuff. So let's say just a few handful of accounts to review, right? It's not a ton of stuff in there. Now let's do the same thing for the accounts payable. So scrolling down to, there we go, accounts payable. And again, I'm just going to export this to Excel, do that, open up that sucker, but move it over into this file. So I just have everything saved together. Open it and make it a little bit bigger for you guys. Again, nothing is like jumping out on me or at me on this. Again, no negative amounts, no zeros, nothing really, really old. So I'm going to say down on accounts payable, like, looks good. Okay. Again, just my notes, things that I'm paying attention to in here, right? Now let's go back to the other accounts on the balance sheet and figuring out all of those. So inventory asset. If you have inventory on here, you know, the biggest things you need to worry about is the inventory balance and numbers. Are they correct? So I like to run an inventory valuation summary report. Now, if you didn't know, within QBO, you can do this little search to search for the reports. You can also do that up here. So, two search areas for it. So, I have my inventory valuation summary. I'm going to export that also to Excel. Look at all of that. I'm moving all of these things in here. I like to have all of my support for stuff, right? And this is really for me to, I have a starting point of the report. So when I get into the cleanup part of things, I still have like, okay, what do we start with? If I ever have a question on anything, like, was that there before? What happened? Maybe the client changed something between the point where I came up with pricing and I started the cleanup. Maybe, things be like, wait, I don't remember seeing that before. So looking at this, just again, based off of my conversation with the client, understanding their business, maybe even asking them about maybe, what kind of quantities should I expect on hand, all of that sort of stuff. Looking at this, it looks reasonable to me. So I'm just going to say, looks okay. And I'm also noting that there's not a lot of inventory that I need to deal with. There's like 4 different items that I'm going to be worrying about. It's not a huge long list of inventory items that I'm going to have to worry about and figure all that stuff out. Okay, next, let's go back to the balance sheet items, and we're going to just look at the truck. Okay, so we have a truck that was added on 7/9. It's just a journal entry. It went to opening balance. So that one, we're going to have to try to figure out, like, should it have gone to opening balance equity? Like, was that the proper setup for the account or not? Right? Okay. So that. So we did accounts payable, we did the MasterCard. Now we have, the Arizona Department of Revenue and the Board of Equalization payable stuff on here. That stuff is related to sales tax. So I'm going over to this taxes area and I'm going to see what's going on over here. When I look at this, so the balance that they have here is $370.94. It does not look like an August return was filed, right? And this is the old view of the sales tax area. There's like newer views now, but we wanted to see if anything's like just wonky out here, right? Like there haven't been any payments. I don't see payments. I see the tax amount, and I don't really see payments made on these. So that's going to be some research. No real payments showing on taxes. I see that there's like 1 or 2, but it's not enough for me. Then I'm going to need to reconcile to the sales tax returns if they have them. Okay, so that's going to take a little bit of time, and it looks like I need to go back. We only really have sales starting in April, right? Yeah. So from, let's see, April to August, I'm going to have to look at. Okay. Coming back here again, going over to the balance sheet. I'm going to come down and say, okay, there's this loan payable. Well, what's that? Again, this is a opening balance equity thing. I'm not sure that should go there. So I'm going to copy that and paste that there. We might need loan documents or something. I'll start with, what is this? Okay. And exit out of that. Then we have a long-term note payable. Again, going to the opening balance equity. Not sure. This is going to be something that I need to figure out, right? And then on the other part, I have opening balance equity. So looking at these transactions, I have these in here. So we have like opening balance off the checking account, but then I also have inventory. The opening balances went here. So review this inventory assets initially came from here. So that's something else I'm going to have to figure out and determine, is that accurate? What's going on? And this is, what I'm trying to show you is you're looking at the accounts and trying to see, like, do they seem right? Are they proper or not? Is anything just like jumping out at you that you're going to have to figure out later and work through? Some of this might merit another conversation with the client or your potential client here. Some of it might not. But what we kind of want to do is go through these accounts and figure out what's going on. Now, again, just because you see this here doesn't mean you're going to see that in every situation. This is an example of my thought process of going into the account, trying to understand what is happening in the account and if there's anything I need to worry about in that account to deal with. Okay. So that pretty much gets me through the balance sheet. Now, the next area, the rest of this is the P&L transactions, right? Or accounts. And what I like to do is I want to come in here and I want to use the reclassify transactions area because it gives me a quick view of the transactions in there without a whole bunch of clicking around. So I can see in here, in this revenue account, I have design income, okay, invoice, nothing really jumping out at me, looks good. We don't see this. Did you know we had transactions you cannot reclassify? So to see your full, let's get the gear icon. This is again new view. Okay, I want to see everything. So I see all the invoices, everything. I see the discounts, sales receipt, invoice. So I'm looking at, okay, are these transactions on proper things? So if I'm looking at revenue, I want to see everything like on an invoice or a sales receipt. We have this. Oh, lovely. Oh, wait, no. Okay, we don't have anything there. Invoice coming down here. Invoice. Here we have an expense. So that's a little weird. I'm probably going to have to figure out that. That was plants and soil. Expense transactions in here. So that means I'm probably going to have to be doing some sort of update to the list area, maybe work on those. Sprinklers. Okay, those are all invoices. Invoices. Now, for me, this is a lot of revenue accounts. We could probably minimize those. That might be something else that you want to do as part of your engagement, like clean up the chart of accounts or reorganize them or something. But you don't have to necessarily. So we have like a credit memo in here, refund. Is that where I want those to be listed? Things to think about. Invoices. These are all invoices. Really, I'm looking to see if there's like a deposit. Those are kind of like red flags for me if there's a deposit listed in there. Cost of goods sold, invoices, those are all related to the inventory items, so they are properly being recorded off of the invoice. Looks right. Expense, okay, we have advertising under advertising. Makes sense. Automobile stuff, gas and oil, equipment rental, insurance. These seems to be in the good areas. Job expenses, decks and patios, okay. Plants and soil. Now I don't remember exactly all the inventory items, but just seeing should any of that stuff be booked into inventory versus booked over as an expense. I don't know. Legal and professional. I mean, counsel, that really should be down here, and lawyers. I hate seeing things in the main accounts. Then we have accounting, okay, bookkeeper. It's kind of inconsistent. So we have books by Bessie going here and under bookkeeper. Um, so maybe those need to be moved around. I don't know. Maintenance and repairs. This is gas and oil. Does that make sense? Repairs and equipment repairs. Meals, office, supplies, some mugs. Okay. Leases. Just going through here. Big thing, we have a whole bunch of miscellaneous, right? So, okay, so we have what? 3 transactions in there. Um, then let's see, going back, and you can put these notes in while you're doing everything or afterwards. Need to reclassify. Might need to move one transaction. Obviously, this is on a very, very small scale, all of these, right? But maybe should be under fuel, those sorts of things. But most of this kind of look good to me, right? Might need to cut down on revenue accounts just to simplify things. So again, these are all of my notes that I'm going through. And again, you're going to go through all of these accounts. It doesn't have to be fast, or sorry, it doesn't have to take a really long time. But you want to get your eyes on it to kind of have an understanding of what's going on in each one and really pinpoint where the problem areas are and where you're going to be spending a lot of your time on things. This one, I don't have any reconciliations, so that is going to be core to this cleanup. I need to get the reconciliations, and hopefully there's no big issues there. I can, if I have questions, maybe I look at the bank statements so I can see like the amount of transactions I'm going to be dealing with. Are they comparable to what is already in QBO? Because nothing like having to enter in a whole bunch of transactions that can darken your day. So a question of, are you just reviewing things? Are you what? All of this stuff, right? The whole point is this allows you to think about it and move through and figure out like how are you analyzing all of these things. Okay, so we have all of this. This is the process you go through of diagnosing the books. Again, very small scale as to what you will really be going through. Now you have this to help you come up with your pricing. And what I like to do is I like to see these accounts and be like, okay, give myself an estimate of like, how long is it going to take me to do like 7 reconciliations? How long for there? The accounts to review. How long do I think that's going to take me? So I put all of that over here and then I total that up at the bottom. So it gives me an estimate as to how much time I think it's going to take me. Maybe I multiply that by the hourly rate that I hope to get, add some sort of cushion if I want, a value factor, all, who knows, different stuff. That all comes into how you want to do your pricing. But this gives me an idea of, okay, how much time do I really think this is going to take me and work through all of this? Obviously, we're not going to be completely accurate all the time. I like to underestimate time, so that's why I usually add in a cushion because I underestimate. So those are some things to think about. Okay, so that is how I go through and I diagnose the books. Again, this is our big picture view just to see what's going on, what's happening, and what kind of stuff we're going to be working on when we do that cleanup engagement. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.